This is Elder Garry M, the pastor of Bethesda Missionary Baptist Church of Louisville, Kentucky. I'm so excited to be with you again for another installment of Moments in the House of Mercy. I have my faithful King James translation here with me. I want to share with you a wonderful passage of Scripture. It's found in Proverbs chapter 17, verse 9. It says, "He that covereth a transgression seeketh love, but he that repeateth a matter separateth close friends." The New Living Translation says it this way. This is an older edition of the New Living Translation's interpretation of the same passage in Proverbs chapter 17, verse 9. It says, "Disregarding another person's faults preserves love. Telling about them separates close friends." Now, I love this particular passage of Scripture, and I love the older new version of the New Living Translation's interpretation of that passage of Scripture for two reasons. Number one, it tells us very plainly that everyone brings faults to a relationship. Anyone who thinks that they come into a relationship without bringing some degree of baggage, faults, issues, challenges that the other person is not going to have to overcome is deceiving themselves. So we all bring baggage and faults into every relationship, whether they be intimate relationships, friendship relationships, work relationships, church relationships. We all bring our own faults to the mix. That's what the Scripture is telling us. And anyone who doesn't believe that is really deceiving themselves. So that's the first thing. It acknowledges the reality that we all have faults. We all bring challenges to our relationships. I love that about the Scripture. It is a straight arrow. It shoots from the hip. It tells the truth about who we are. And if we don't accept that, then we wind up being the fools. That's the first great thing about that passage. It tells us everyone brings faults to the relationship. But the second thing I love, that is to me the better thing, is that even in view of the fact that we bring faults to our relationships, each one of us, both parties bring things that are undesirable in the relationship. It also tells us that we ought to keep our eyes on the right prize, and that is disregarding another person's faults preserves love. The intent is not to highlight their issues, not to highlight their baggage or challenges. The intent should be to preserve love. So anytime you get into an issue, a challenge, or a circumstance that might threaten your relationship, you need to ask yourself this question: what is the most loving thing to do? Why should you do that? Well, simply because the goal of every relationship is to preserve love, to help love grow, to nurture it. And one of the ways we do that is to disregard another person's faults. Now, I will say this before I finish, and that is that there are some faults that you cannot disregard. Things that are so destructive to the person who has the faults and anyone in a relationship with them that you cannot disregard those things. And you have to decide what those things are. But I love this passage of Scripture simply because it keeps the focus on preserving love and not highlighting faults. You know, one of the great truths of the Scripture is, "Judge not, lest ye be judged also." So the reality is, this particular passage of Scripture in Proverbs chapter 17, verse 9, is telling us, don't judge the other person who you're in a relationship with, because if you do that, you actually are causing the relationship and the love to diminish rather than to grow. And the second thing is that if you judge them and disclose their faults to them that you perceive, then it really just may be the fault within you that you're projecting onto them. That's the first thing. The second thing is that fault has to be something so significant that it has the potential to destroy the relationship if it is not addressed. You see, so keep in mind what the Scripture tells us. Disregarding another person's fault preserves love, but telling about them separates close friends. The Good News Translation says it this way, and I'll close on this: love prospers when a fault is forgiven, but dwelling on it separates close friends. I'm Elder Garry M, the pastor of Bethesda Missionary Baptist Church, and I want to thank you for joining me in this installment of Moments in the house of mercy. Visit our website. It's going to show up right here. And then come see us at Bethesda Missionary Baptist Church at 3115 Southern Avenue in the heart of Park Duval. We would love to see you. God bless you and have a wonderful day.
I'm sorry, Lord, for the thing I've made it, and it's all about